Welcome back to Hadassah's Discernment. We're in the month of March, almost to the end, and we are here to do the analysis of the 3 months January, February, March in walking ourselves out of financial debt. And in doing our analysis, I have in the background the a bottle of freshly blended fruit juices. And that is one tip as we do our analysis. How are we going to walk ourselves out of financial debt? We established in January that we are freezing unnecessary spending for the month of January, February, March. That's the trial. And second, we looked at the strength of our parents and our grandparents on the maternal and paternal side. And then we put our possessions into three categories. One, the things that we need. Two, the things that we can negotiate if we're going to keep or let go. And then the third, the things that we are letting go. Walking ourselves out of financial debt requires giving. Giving is an integral part in walking ourselves out of financial debt. So we giving away, we are decluttering, not to reclutter, we're decluttering. Now, we had established that because it's a situation where we are in debt, it is not, this is a financial plan, an emergency financial plan of walking ourselves out of financial debt, not a plan to increase our financial portfolio. This is an emergency plan to walk ourselves out of financial debt. And we established in January that after paying off all our liabilities, after our liabilities are deducted from our income, what is left, we are going to take 10% of what is left, and we are saving that 10% for January, February, March. At the end of March, that 10% that we took each month, we put it together, that will now become 100%, a whole. And from that 100%, we will be taking 10% of that, and we are paying it we're toward the most significant debt that we have, if it's a credit card, a loan, whatever. And then the 90%, we are we create a savings account. If we don't have one, or if we have one, we'll put that towards our saving account. We said we will not take any money out of that, only if it is absolutely necessary. So, January, February, March. We're almost at the end of March. So, we're to do our analysis. When we collected those 10% from each month, now at the end of March, we will put those three together, make it a whole, and then we'll take 10% out of that, give that towards that loan that keeps us up at night, that loan that takes most of our income, that loan that it's not worth it. So we are going to take 10% out of that accumulated money for the 3 months and put it towards that, and then the 90% we are creating or adding to our savings account. We will not be using that money only if it is absolutely necessary. Okay, now how do we freeze unnecessary spending? Now, I said that we're going to do some analysis in order for us to accomplish that goal of walking ourselves out of financial debt. In the background, you see I have a bottle with freshly blended juice. I would use lemon easy peel, or you call it tangerine, and apples. And I'll blend that together with about 500 grams of brown sugar. And I'll blend and, you know, each set a new set of water, strain, blend, blend. And that will take me an hour to prepare. But you know what? I will not be spending, at least for a week, no money on any soda, frizzy drinks, aerated drinks, whatever you call it. I will not be spending any money on that. That will be my drink, my beverage, whatever, for the entire week. So when I finish blend that, I would keep that out all day, and then at night I'll put it right, if you see the background, I'll put it right in that freezer to stay overnight. And then overnight when I wake, I'll take it out. It will be all frozen. I leave it throughout the day, and at different periods we will take from it, and then at night again I'll put it back, and the cycle continues until it finishes within 5 to 6 days, and then I'll do it over again. I will not be spending any money on drinks outside. I'll walk with that. I'll take a bottle almost every day to work, but at least I drink one full glass daily. And that's how one tip of freezing unnecessary spending. Freezing unnecessary spending. And there are other areas, other ways that you can do. You will need to, if you're a female, a wife, single mom, whatever, you will need to do your prep for cooking in order to spend less on fast food. Because if you're working 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours a day to come home to cook. That can be very, very taxing on your physical health. So you will have to learn to prep and arrange your time so that you can do your cooking. It's better for you, it's better for your health, it's better for your pocket. Okay? So you have to do food preparation in order for you to spend less on buying fast foods. And all of those things are areas where we can freeze unnecessary spending. Another area in freezing unnecessary spending is looking at our clothing and shoes. You know, some of us may have, according to my grandmother, 11 pairs of black shoes, or 11 pairs of shoes that you don't need. You will not be using all of those shoes and all of those clothing. So you freeze those things. You freeze buying clothing and buying shoes, buying wigs, or what if you use wigs. Those are ways you freeze unnecessary spending. I do not need to do that. I use my hair the way it is. So that is one area where I do not spend. So walking ourselves out of financial debt calls for a strategy. It calls for preparation. It calls for investing your time. I spend about an hour preparing this, just one day a week, an hour, and I have healthy fruit drink for 5 to 7 days. No spending of money for drink. Food preparation, I'll do some food prep, and I'll try to cover 3 to 4 times per week. Most times 3 to 4 times, or sometimes 6. It depends on the days and what is happening. But 3 to 4 times per week, I will have home cooked food, and other times you will just put whatever you have together and you use. But definitely you wouldn't I will not be your customer if you sell fast food and the the soda and the fizzy drinks or the aerated drinks, whatever you call it, because my principle is freezing unnecessary spending. I don't need to spend for those things. Once in a while, yes, I'll take a fish burger, or I'll take a malt or whatever. But on the main, no. So that is how I am able to save. Let's make it just be a conservative amount. 10, 10 to 20 pounds a week. 10 to 20 pounds by not buying drink and not buying fast food. I will save that per week. That's just an example. That is just tips in how you can walk yourselves out of financial debt. It is strategic, it calls for preparation, and it calls for time. So, as we continue in the year, April, May, June, we'll repeat the cycle. I will not be coming back next month again to talk necessarily about us giving or putting away 10% of what is left over. That we've already established that we'll do that every quarter. So from next month, I'll be coming with something more of a structured way of us accumulating and using our finances, a more structured way. What is it do we want to achieve in life? How soon would we like to retire if we are working? And what is it that I desire for myself so that I can live comfortably and at peace? What is it? Well, all of these things can be accomplished with some amount of structure and planning. And there is where I'll come and give some tips, because I am also in that stage of my life where I'm considering retiring early. Not considering, I am making, as we speak, I am making preparations of retiring early. And these preparations are have started, I think, 2022, when I robustly focused on what I'm going to do. I've made that decision, and I dig my heels in, and I said yes. So I think around 2022, now it's 2026. So we say 4 years have passed, and I will be retiring early. But see, it takes time. It takes a strategy. And that is what I will encourage, as what we will be looking at for the next quarter. So thank you for tuning in to Hadassah's Discernment and walking ourselves out of financial debt. Thank you, and see you back next time.